Okay, everybody, sign in, make a name tag, get hand sanitizer, and then take a seat. We can put up more chairs if we need to. Do you have more
Hi, Sergio.
I'm so excited to see everybody here. Make sure you sign in, make a name tag, grab an agenda, get a snack, and have a seat. Can you put in the chat to Shayla Alvarado? Can you put in the chat to her that we have a bunch of I know.
You know Stephanie Rafus, she's here?
Yes.
Hi, Sergio.
right, everybody, let's get ready to rumble. Let's get that blue wave started again. Woohoo! All right, everybody stand up and go, blue wave. We're gonna do this, we're gonna do this. All right, first of all, I'd like to welcome everybody. We have all kinds of candidates out the wazoo tonight, so that's amazing. And that is a technical political term, is wazoo, so yes. Okay, first of all, is there anybody here who is at, oh, first of all, my name's Kathy Harrington, and I'm the acting vice president, or the acting president for now, and then we'll have elections next month to determine, you know, something for the next couple of years. But I wanted to say, have anybody raise their hand if this is their first Lehigh Valley for All meeting that they've attended? Oh, wow, okay. All right. Here goes the button. Keep your hands up, starting on this side, if it's your first meeting that you've attended. No, no. All right, now where are all? All right. Okay, here's Jason, and here's Vanessa. Hi, tell me where you're from, Jason.
I'm from Windgap.
Woo! And I am from Windgap. Welcome. Jason is a numbers guy, so we're really hoping to keep him engaged. There you go. Kier, all right.
Thank you.
Kier Bradford Gray, everyone. We're gonna hear from her. And Jason been here before, right? And Brandon, where are you from?
Coopersburg.
Ooh, Coopersburg. And are you with him? Oh, he's with Jay. Okay. Nice to meet you. Who else is here for the first time? Rachel.
Bethlehem. I'm a teacher at Liberty.
Woo! Welcome. Who else? Who else? Hi, Stephanie. Take a button. All right. And where are you from?
Laura McCungy.
And in a little while, we're going to hear from her. Who else? Anybody? Okay. Over here. Dylan.
Forks Township in Easton.
And
Donna Bojeski here in Bethlehem.
Bethlehem representing in the house. Anybody else? Steve, have you been here before? Okay. Oh yes. Now I know. Yeah. Hi, who are you?
My name's Jack Solsteimer, and I'm from Delaware County.
Jack Solsteimer from Delaware County and running for Attorney General. All right, anyone else? Anyone else? Okay. Wow, we got a lot of new people here for the first time. They're going to be so amazed, right, guys? You have a look around? No? Okay. Come on. All right. All right, moving on. Just real quickly, letting you know that in February, our president had to leave early, so I'm the acting president, and Sandy Davis is the acting vice president. There she is. What? Hi. Next month in February, we will be having our officer votes, our officer elections to vote for new president and vice president. And since I've only been it for a couple of months, I am going to run. And Sandy, are you going to run for vice president? Yes. But if anyone else would like to run, they can email us at LehighValleyForAll.org, right? And throw your name into the hat. Thank you, Sergio.
It's only been 6 years.
It's only been 6 years that we've had that. But I never remember org or com or whatever. So real quickly, I just want to let you guys know that the state committee had their meeting, and they voted on endorsements. And some people won endorsements, and some people, like for instance, the Attorney General office, nobody got enough votes to be endorsed by the state. So it's an open field, and everyone is running and getting signatures and all that kind of stuff. And even if you are not endorsed by the state, you may also still put out your signature sheets and try to collect signatures to be on the ballot. That's not a hard and fast rule that if you weren't endorsed by the state, you cannot collect signatures anymore. So I just wanted to let everybody know that. Also, I wanted to let everybody know that we forgot to put, here is a list of all the state houses in our area. Every single state house in our area is up for election again this year. Every single state rep has to get signatures again. And so all these people, some of them are brand new, some of them are somebody that we've known for a long time, but they're all good people. I just wanted to let you know that in the 131st, Kevin Branco ran the last 2 times, and he has not decided if he's running again or not. We have another person that's here tonight that will talk about possibly running too for that 131st spot, okay? And then to also let you know, we have, these are all the state and federal elections that we have to get signatures for and then work for starting this coming year. Of course, Joe Biden. Yay, let's hear this one. Our U.S. Senator Bob Casey. Somebody like to put John. Anyway, that's it. Okay. U.S. House, Susan Wild. Susan Wild has another Democrat who's said they're running against her. Their last name is like Soup or something. We're not really very worried, but just to let you. Soup. They'll be Soup. Yeah. Auditor General Malcolm Kenyatta and Mark Pinsley. And Malcolm Kenyatta did get endorsed at state. And then Attorney General, we have 5 of them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Eugene De Pasquale got the most votes at state, but nobody got enough to be endorsed. Then Joe Kahn, Keir Bradford Gray, Jared Solomon, and Jack Stolz. How do you say your last name, Jack? Stolzheimer. His name is Jack Stolzheimer. And a couple of these people are here tonight to talk to us about getting our endorsement. So that's very exciting. And also, what we don't have on here, which we just kind of overlooked, was there's a treasury race for PA treasurer. And I believe either online or in person, we're going to have, the candidate that got endorsed is Bizarro. And then the other lady that got endorsed is Erin McClellan. Erin McClellan. And yes. Right. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, Erin McClellan didn't get it. I'm sorry. They endorsed Brian Bizarro. Sorry about that. So it's very confusing. But that doesn't matter because as I said, anybody can run whether they got endorsed by the state or not. But thank you for correcting that for me, Josh. It's very confusing. On top of that, there are going to be delegates that need signatures to go to the state party and to the convention. And so I think we have 7 or 8 people that will be trying to get, I think they need 250 signatures to be a delegate. So those people will also be in the mix for signatures. So I swear to God, it's going to be very confusing. We're going to get it all organized so people have a very easy time going in and signing just for who they can sign for, okay? We're going to do our best to make sure that it's as easy to understand as possible. And that's what we've got coming up. Petition signatures start on January 23rd. And then you'll see all this whole list of dates on here. And so then we're going to have several signature signing events. Oh, sorry. Sorry. All right, we're going to have several signature signing events. Sorry, I'm not used to that yet. Okay. And so what we really are going to need is a lot of help with all these signature events. There's a lot of things you can do. You can work just your own neighborhood. You can come to an event and help us get signatures that way. You can make phone calls or appointments. We've had a lot of success with calling people up and say, we're going to be in your area on Saturday from 2 to 4. Can we come by and get your signatures then? Because then people answer the door, they're expecting you, you know they're going to be home. So we're gonna be doing all of that stuff. Also, the first weekend in February, on that Sunday, we are planning to have about 7 or 8 satellite events, which means we will invite people to someplace in Allentown, someplace in Macungie, someplace in Hanover Township, etc. And then people can just go someplace close to their house if they want to. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna pass around this sign-up sheet. I will help with signature collection. This is important because this is everybody's first chance to vote for who they like and to help get people on the ballot. So I'm gonna start it over here. And one thing to keep in mind, it's in the future, but on January the 23rd, like when we did Susan Wild, she had 2 opponents in the primary the first time she ran. And because we were at the polling location recommending that they vote for Susan Wild, we moved her up 3 points, and that's how she ended up winning, just by that day. So you might think it's not that important to be there on the primary because Democrats vote for Democrats, Republicans vote for Republicans, so we don't have to try and talk anybody into voting for a Democrat who was going to vote Republican. But if there are contested races in the primary, and we have somebody that we endorse that we think would be best, if we're at the polls, that really pushes that person. More people will vote for them because we are there with our literature and just talking to them about it. So keep in mind, if you can, now there's a couple rules for this upcoming season. The first rule is don't get sick or hurt. All right, I mean, I'm serious. Don't get sick, don't get hurt. And the second rule is to try and get as much information as you can about all of our candidates. So when you're at the doors, you have some smart things to say. Okay. Very good. All right, so let's move on real quick and do our business because we've got a lot of speakers waiting. First of all, in order to vote in for the president and vice president at the next meeting, you have to be a paid member. And you can pay here tonight with Kim, or you can go on our website, LV4ALL.org, and click the donate button. Dues this year went up to $25. Because it's going to be such a huge undertaking that we're doing this year. So, but it's for the whole year. So basically it's like $2 a month, you know, just give up 1 cup of coffee, they all say. Okay, and then, let's see here. And then on here, you'll see the list of all the important election plans. And as I said, I forgot to list the treasurer, but so all these dates, signature collection, and you can read that. I don't need to read that to you. That's our plans for the next until I think we have to turn in. February 13th is when all the petitions are turned in. So we have to get them all ready to the candidates by that time. All right. So Kim, did you want to? Oh, first of all, Sue DeRose, we laid the minutes out from the last meeting. It was really just our holiday party. Can somebody raise to vote to approve the minutes? Okay. Nancy Mernon votes to approve it. Can I have a second? Oh, lots of people second. I'll take Mike Law since he's not here that much. Okay, thank you very much. You got to get his name on something. All right, and then Kim, did you have a report, not including what we've gotten in the last couple of days, a report of how much is in the treasury?
Well, I just know the year end. Year end was $2,720.
Okay, very good. Yeah, so we are probably going to do, we had a really successful time with postcards last time, so we're probably going to print and mail postcards again. And you've got to print up all the stuff for the walk packets, etc. And you know, so we've got a lot of things to do to do our part in getting our Democrats elected this time. So we can use the money for sure, especially in this presidential election. All right. And committee reports, events committee. You have the amazing events committee. You have something to report. I'm just gonna bring it. Also, everyone should think about signing up for a committee.
The events committee. We're where it's happening. I just wanted to say how wonderful our holiday party was. Those of you who were there know that. And all people, starting with Kathy, who worked so hard to make it happen. And also our sister organization, am I allowed to talk about this? The Lehigh Valley Helpers. And who did so much good this holiday season by bringing some joy to some families who maybe didn't have as much joy in their house as they could have it. And we brought them some goodies. So thank you to everybody who did that. What a worthwhile organization that is. Now, food. I'm here to talk about food. We have refreshments at every meeting, and we need people to donate refreshments at every meeting. So I have a list here, and you can get with one or two other people and decide what you want to bring. You can see what kinds of things that we typically bring, but you can be creative. So every month, from February through June, there's a place here for you to fill in your name. Please, please do. We need food to give us the energy that we're going to need this year, right? And on the second page, there's 2 dates for the petition signing event, where on Saturday, January 27th and Saturday, February 3rd, from 10 to 2. Is that right, Kathy? 10 to 2, right?
Yes.
If you could sign up to bring a snack or two, you don't have to do it all yourself, but just bring something. Some people will be there the whole time, so they'll get hungry. Some people will just be coming in and out, so we don't need to really to feed that place. But there will be people there the whole time working hard. So I'm just going to pass this around. There's a pen attached to the top. Really appreciate it if you could sign up for something. And that's it. I'm done.
Yay, let's hear it. Okay, do you have anything to say for the amazing communications committee?
As usual, we need help with setting things up. So if anybody here has any AV technology experience, that'd be helpful. Or if you just want to learn, I can teach you. That's what I do anyway. So please feel free to join. Thanks. That's all.
Yeah, Sergio has to be here every month to set all this up so that we can Zoom and all that kind of stuff. It's quite a bit of work, and if somebody could relieve him once in a while, that would be awesome. Okay, and then the next one is, make sure you guys all sign up and follow our Facebook page. We put a lot of extra information and last minute stuff on our Facebook page, and it would be great if we knew that everybody was reading that. Okay, volunteer committee, that's me, and it's actually Mary Saddam. Is she here, Mary? No. Okay, so we just need help with petition collecting right now. Whatever you can do, if you want to do it in your own area, if you want to come to an event, if you want to go to your work or whatever you'd like to do, that would be awesome too. So that's what I'm asking people to volunteer for in the next month and a half. Okay, just to let you know, we're one of the only groups in the Valley that endorse. And the reason we do that is because we try to get to know all the candidates and get to know all about them. And there are so many people who say, I don't know one person from another on this list. And they kind of count on Lehigh Valley for All to go through and pick who we think would be the best and endorse people. And we give them 3, 2, or 1 star. So it's not like your name is not on our list. It's just the order that we endorse them. And we need all of you to pay close attention to all the candidates this year and thoughtfully think about who you would like to vote for endorsement. We will have speakers this month, tonight, next month, and the March meeting. And then a couple days after the March meeting, we will be emailing out to every paid member a list of all their choices of who they can vote for endorsement. And then you have to have it back within 2 days. So we'll probably email it out on the 7th or 8th, and you have to have it back by the 10th. And we'll send out a blast email saying we're about to send this out. And if you don't get it and you feel like you are a paid member, let us know right away and we'll forward it to you, okay? But Kim is keeping track of everybody who's a paid member, so we should have all your email addresses. And take this very seriously because the whole Valley thinks about who we're endorsing, and watches us to see, to get some indication of who we like and who we think is the best. And so it's up to us to really know about all these candidates, so we know who's gonna do the best job for us, okay? So that's what's gonna happen. And now we have several people here tonight. They're gonna talk to us about their campaigns. And one of the requirements to be endorsed is you had to visit us either in person or through Zoom and just talk a little bit about yourself, let us ask you questions. So I am going to start with the people who signed up right away in the first, a long time ago to speak. And the first person on my list that signed up to speak is Kier Bradford Gray. She is running for the PA Attorney General office. Johnny on the spot. She signed up like it was 6 weeks ago.
You
so
better know
there
it.
you
You
go.
better know it. Thank you so much, Lehigh Valley. Thank you for all you're doing to protect democracy, but most importantly, thank you for showing what strong democratic values will bring us. And I feel like I fall into those protections, so I thank you for protecting me as well. I am running for Attorney General because I want to provide safety, opportunity, and stability to all Pennsylvania communities. And when I say all three, I mean all three. It takes all three for our families to thrive, not just survive. I have a very unique window into the drivers that impact public safety. Being a longtime public servant, as a lawyer, as a public defender, both state and federal practice, it allowed me a driver's seat understanding of why and how crime occurs. And also, being a CEO and executive director of one of the fourth largest criminal defense law firms in the country and the largest in the state, the Defender Association of Philadelphia, I've been able to understand not only the issues that present our people that come into the system, but also the issues and challenges and complications with the justice system itself. I've been able to push the structures of a justice system whose parameters were already set so that it can actually provide public safety, save taxpayer dollars, and of course be a fundamentally fair system where processes are not made on assumptions, but actual fact-based investigations. I want to make sure we bring that to Pennsylvania, all over our Commonwealth, and making sure that each system of justice actually targets the people who are really threatening our neighborhoods and not bringing people in unnecessarily. The balance that we need and the credibility that we need is really critical at this moment, and I know how to provide it. I also understand, in terms of public safety, from a personal perspective, what it feels like to live in a neighborhood riddled by crime. I'm a mother of 3, and it kills me that I could not protect my children when they went out of the house. I know how mothers feel. I will never let another mother down when it comes to making sure we target crime where it needs to be targeted. And right now, gun violence is not just what's happening on the street corner, but it's also what's happening in the boardrooms. How business practices are allowing guns to be illegally distributed across our communities and landing in the hands of young kids. Under my watch, there'll be no refuge for people who put a gun in the hand of a kid. I know what that looks like. But also, I will make sure that anyone who harms our children will be dealt with credibly and, of course, fairly, so that the decisions are final and that they're not able to come back and say, hey, you did something wrong. But also, one of the great things about this role, the breadth and the scope of this role, is why I'm so attracted to it, is because it provides stability for families. Right now, life is very expensive, and attorneys general are stepping up, making sure they protect people from scammers and predatory practices, price gougers, and those who deny our access to wealth. That was a reality in my household, and that stopped us from doing a lot of things, and actually almost stopped me from going and wanting to go to college. Because my mom and dad were ripped and robbed of their security and stability, despite the fact that they worked every day. I know what it feels like to be a family, not knowing who to turn to when your healthcare coverage is denied, despite the fact that you put into healthcare. Attorney General is stepping up and making sure healthcare coverage is available for everyone, particularly our seniors. And I know what it feels like to not have housing stability and how that actually impacts crime and criminality. I want to make sure that those who are price gouging the market, making sure that people can't afford to stay in their own neighborhoods and create the village that we need for real public safety, I want to make sure they're held accountable too. But also, there's been a lot of housing thievery going on. In Philadelphia, people are taking their most precious asset, their generational wealth, and they're doing it under sophisticated practices. Attorneys generals are stepping up because not only are they the top law enforcement officer to deal with crime and punishment, but they're the people's lawyer, to make sure that people are protected from powerful interests. It is a role that can be utilized for so much good. And right now, I want to be the one that steps up. Lastly, that role provides and supports opportunity. There's been a lot of rights that we fought for that are now at risk. Rights that impact me, well, maybe not me, I'm 50, so I'm not going to be having another child. However, I have 2 daughters, and I never want them to live in a world where they have less rights than I have. The right to democracy, I listened to the stories of my mother and father who marched for their right to vote. And I know when votes are being targeted, or when people are being targeted for voting, they're targeting communities that are voting. Communities of color, taking away drop boxes, making sure that they have a longer, hectic way to do the one thing that we all have an opportunity for freedom, vote. We all have one, it's the natural equalizer. I am stepping up because I know the leader that I've been to Pennsylvania and of course to our nation. I've been a long time respected leader because of the impact that I've had, not only on our city, but our state. And this is why Governor Wolf appointed me to be a part of Pennsylvania Commission on Crime and Delinquency, because he understands the diversity of thought and experience helps solve problems. I am a solution driver. I am a problem solver. I am a changer. I am a leader. And I'm going to be that for all of you. But most importantly, I am a courageous lawyer. I'm glad that you corrected someone when they said that Aaron was endorsed. Because right now, as women are on the attack or being attacked, we don't have any women being endorsed by Pennsylvania State Party. And that's sad to me. Because they're the land of the free, home of the brave. And women are brave enough to step up, but I want us to be brave enough to elect a woman. Republicans are coming for us. You don't want to know how to get them back? Elect a woman whose body they try to control. Thank you so much, and I appreciate it. I got the little tip, so I just my time.
All right, so then the next person that we're going to listen to is, look now, everybody has to pay attention. This is where they want the speakers to speak. See? All right, Josh, come on up. He's going to talk to us about Joe Kahn, who is also running for Attorney General. And then after that, he's just going to put a plug in for himself because he's also running for something. What are you?
Right, yeah. I remember the right spot.
Back up. Definitely.
Here?
Yeah, there you go. That's better.
All right.
And we can see you too.
It's my good side. My name is Josh Siegel, and many of you know me as the state representative from the 22nd district. But I'm here tonight to talk to you about Joe Kahn, who's running to be Pennsylvania's next Attorney General. And I was one of Joe's earliest endorsers, and I want to tell you why. Because that story starts here in the Lehigh Valley. And I think many of us are familiar with Joe Kahn's work. Many of you know that he is the federal prosecutor who's responsible for putting Ed Pawlowski, the former mayor of Allentown, behind bars for chronic and corrupt misuse of his office. He utilized taxpayer funds and his office to raise funds to run for higher office, and Joe put a stop to that, clearing a way for a new generation of leaders. If it were not for Joe Kahn, I would not be standing before you today as a state representative, because he made way for an entire new generation of leaders in the Lehigh Valley, because he took out a corrupt regime that would put its foot on the back of any candidate who stood for anything other than Ed Pawlowski's values. And because of Joe, I am a state representative. We have U.S. Congresswoman Susan Wild, because he removed the cloud of corruption and deceit that had hung over Allentown for far too long. And he's not just a friend of the Lehigh Valley because he did the right thing and stood up for integrity in public service. It's that he's maintained a consistent and constant relationship with the Lehigh Valley. Because when our very own Susan Wild was wrongly named by Marty Nosty, who accused her of being complicit in Ed Pawlowski's corruption, Joe Kahn said no and stood shoulder to shoulder with Susan Wild and put his name and reputation on the line to say that she was nothing more than a dedicated and truthful public servant who did everything to assist and uphold the law when that investigation was conducted. And he was a huge part of ensuring that we have a Democratic representative here in the 7th district. And we all owe him a round of applause for that service and making sure we have U.S. Congresswoman Susan Wild representing us to this day. And as a result of that, Joe has been endorsed by over 22 representatives here in the Lehigh Valley. 22 elected officials from all across Lehigh and North Benton County have come together to say Joe is the Lehigh Valley's candidate. Both county executives, myself and Representative Peter Squire, county commissioners and city council members from across the Lehigh Valley have stood shoulder to shoulder and said there is no candidate better to represent our values and better to fight for the Lehigh Valley than Joe Kahn. But it's not just that he's a friend of the Lehigh Valley. It's that the choice in this attorney general's race is whether we want an ally or an antagonist for our basic rights and freedoms. And Joe Kahn has taken on the big fights in Bucks County. He will be an ally for the issues and rights that we hold dear. Because in Bucks County, when they tried to sue the county over access to the abortion pill, and because Joe Kahn's mother is a former nurse who watched women die in the operating room because they could not get access to safe and legal abortions, Joe stood up for access to the abortion pill in Bucks County. He's protected our children from real threats, not the imaginary ones that Moms for Liberty likes to plaster all over their yard signs and on their websites. Because as solicitor of Bucks County, he joined with other solicitors around the country to take on big tech, specifically TikTok, which was using predatory algorithms to target our children, to prey on them in their mental health. And Joe stood shoulder to shoulder with solicitors across the country to take on big tech and make sure they could not prey on our children anymore. He stood up to pharmaceutical industries and pharma companies for poisoning our communities with opioids and helped ensure that a $45 million settlement came back to Bucks County so that we could take care of the communities that had been so wrong and violated by corrupt and craving pharmaceutical companies that were more interested in profit than people's health. We have to choose to make sure that we put an attorney general in that office that is going to be an ally for women's reproductive rights, for working class families. And Joe is by and far the most qualified and capable candidate. And he's the one that can ensure we win this race. Because let's be clear, the attorney general's office is one of the most powerful vehicles for change, but it can be also one of the most powerful vehicles for destruction. Look no further than Texas, where Attorney General Ken Paxton is sending letters to hospitals threatening to sue them if they provide access to abortion care, threatening the lives of women because they're trying to access a basic human right. If we lose the Attorney General's office, I can promise you there will be a war on women in Pennsylvania. There will be a war on children in Pennsylvania because we will go from having an office that can protect our children from predators and from gun violence. They will use that office to attack marginalized communities, like my sister, who's a transgender woman, like my father, who's a gay man. We need an attorney general that is going to stand shoulder to shoulder to protect our most marginalized communities, defend a woman's right to choose. We also need one that can win the general election, who has a record of fighting on crime and public safety, and that is Joe Kahn. Thank you.
Yay.
Also, I'm going to elect you to stay out. That's cool too.
Thank you very much. Okay, so as long as we're doing all the attorney generals at the same time, all the attorney general candidates, I'm gonna go ahead and introduce Jack Stalsteiner, Stalsteiner, whatever. Thank you. What are you here for?
Jack, whoever, well, it doesn't matter. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. It's great to be back in Lehigh County and to see my friend Bob Freeman. Bob is not only a great state representative, he's been a mentor to a lot of people. I started out working for the State House as a child prodigy when Bob was in his first run in the State House, and I just appreciate all the work we've ever done. So give Bob Freeman a round of applause. I'm the district attorney of Delaware County. I'm the first Democrat elected district attorney of Delaware County since the Civil War. I was elected 4 years ago by beating a Republican incumbent. I was reelected in November by the largest number of votes ever received by a district attorney county candidate in the history of Delaware County. I am the elected prosecutor who has a unique ability both to do this job and to win this election. Let me tell you why. When I was elected by the people of Delaware County 4 years ago, I made a promise that, consistent with our values, I was not only going to be tough on crime, I was going to be smart on crime as well. So day one, I started the first environmental crime unit in any district attorney's office in Pennsylvania. I partnered with Josh Shapiro in one of the largest criminal environmental crimes prosecutions of Energy Transfer Company, the damage they did in Delaware County and all across Pennsylvania when they built the Mariner 2 pipeline. We're also currently suing right now big chemical companies over the forever chemicals they put in our drinking water and the firefighting foam our first responders have been using for years. I also decided that I was going to refocus our war on drugs in Delaware County into a war on addiction. Like many of you, my family has suffered from a substance abuse disorder. My younger brother died in the middle of the pandemic, alone, the way too many people have died. So I started by decriminalizing the personal possession of marijuana in Delaware County. I successfully sued, not knowing the county commissioners, I myself sued the opioid distributors who brought home millions of dollars to help lead the fight to get people with substance abuse disorder the help they need. And most importantly, I refocused our law enforcement effort to go after the big time drug dealers. Last year, we took a record $20 million worth of fentanyl and over 190 guns off the streets of Delaware County. We're going after people who are preying on the victims of substance abuse disorder. I'm also the only candidate in this race who has actually opposed the Dobbs decision at court filing. When that court decision, before the U.S. Supreme Court, Josh Shapiro, Larry Kreiser, and I all filed a document saying that that decision was going to be wrong, taking away the woman's constitutional right. After that horrible decision came down, we all took a pledge, which I'm going to retake in front of my teenage daughter the day I'm sworn in as your attorney general, that I will never prosecute a woman for exercising her constitutional right to reproductive health and abortion. I'm also the only candidate in this race who's actually reformed our criminal justice system. Some of you may know that Delaware County used to have the only privately run prison in Pennsylvania. It was our county jail. I led the fight not only to deprivatize it, but I've reduced the prison population by over a third over the last 3 years. I'm also the only candidate in this race who's actually fought for economic justice. I took on, and I'm the only district attorney in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania right now who's actually prosecuted contractors for stealing from their workers and from us as taxpayers by misclassifying people on construction sites. That's a crime in Pennsylvania. 4 contractors now in Delaware County know it because some of them have actually done jail time. That's why I've been endorsed by every single building trades council across Pennsylvania that unanimously are supporting my candidacy, as well as the Carpenters Union, the Teamsters Union, and a bunch of others who are coming on board. And lastly, most personally to me, ladies and gentlemen, I've led the fight to do something about gun violence in my community. Delaware County has one city, it's called Chester. It's the city where William Penn actually landed in Pennsylvania, not the other city east of it. And it has become, over the last generation, one of the most violent small cities in America. I want to use my experience as a federal prosecutor to do something about the gun violence in that city. That's why I ran. And this is personal to me. My mother came to this country as a 15-year-old Ukrainian refugee from Nazi slave labor. She walked and spent 6 years of her life living homeless in Europe before she got here. The first place she ever breathed free air was in the city of Chester. So I'm passionate about doing something about the gun violence. 3 years ago, I brought the law enforcement and the community together in what we call the Chester Partnership for Safety Program. And it has become the most successful gun violence reduction program in the Commonwealth. 68% reduction over 3 years in the number of gun homicides in the city of Chester. And just today, we announced a 72% reduction in the overall number of shootings in that city. People in Chester are getting to live the American dream. And that's what I want to do all across Pennsylvania. Because everything I just told you that I've done as district attorney, I did it in partnership with my friend Josh Shapiro. I know how to do this job, and I can win the election. Because as this young man just said, they are coming. The Republicans are going to run on Trump. That is the second issue in every poll that's done in Pennsylvania. And I'm the only one who actually rebut that argument with the record I've built. David Sunday is the Republican candidate who's going to be talking every single day. My colleague, he's district attorney of York County. They're going to spend millions of dollars trying to take back this office because of the power it has to fight for people like you. I'm running for this office to keep it in our hands and to have somebody with our values fighting every single day for people in this room. I know I've gone too long. I just want to thank you for your time and attention today. My name is Jack Solsteimer. It's a little bit hard to remember sometimes, but I deeply appreciate the opportunity to talk to you today. Thank you.
Repeat after me. Solsteimer. Solsteimer. One more time. He's willing to change it. But then it still has to be his legal name on the ballot. All right. So, is there anybody else here running for Attorney General tonight that didn't speak yet? Seems like 10 or 12 people are here running for Attorney General. I'm thinking I might do it. So, okay. Anyway, so then the next thing I want to do is, I had a call today from Aaron McClellan, and she is running for treasurer. And the other person that's running for treasurer, his last name, what's his first name? Bizarro. Ryan Bizarro, right, and he was the one that was endorsed. But we have Erin here tonight, and she's gonna talk to us a little bit. I talked to her at length today, and she has some really good things to say about why she feels that she could really help as the treasurer of Pennsylvania. So let's hear what she has to say. Let's hear it from Erin. Yay!
Oh, thank you so much. Can everybody hear me?
Yes.
All right, great. Thank you so much. It's great to be here. Yeah, the treasure race is not something that most people know much about. I am planning to change that. And thanks to Joe Biden for doing some really, really innovative policy to change how we do banking in the state of Pennsylvania as well as throughout the country. So I think that what he's done is really made the treasurer's race a very opportunistic point, but it's a place where we can really dive into local politics in a way that we've never done before. And that's what I want to do. My background is in running a small business and working under Treasury Secretary Paul O'Neill. So I have seen a little bit about how this works. I want to take his reforms and make them real. And a lot of states have done this. We have not, because we have a Republican Treasury that has not done what they can do. I think that we can take his plan on mission-driven banking and really deliver local banking back to some of our local municipalities that have not had that opportunity. But the biggest opportunity I think we have is on cybersecurity. When Joe Torsello was our secretary or our treasurer, he was able to start bringing attention to cybersecurity. He lost that race in 2020. I want to pick that up, and I want to create a great cybersecurity program for every municipality, all 2,500 plus in the state, that help them understand what cybersecurity is. On our local municipalities, we don't have a lot of understanding or resources of what that looks like. Very recently, the Aliquippa water security was hacked, and with that was done by Hamas. What we know is that if somebody would have told them you are at risk and change your password, that might not have happened because it was a password issue. So I want to take this office and put it into the local communities in a way that we've never seen before. We have always looked at a state treasurer as somebody that stays in a mahogany office and manages pension funds, and that's all important to me, and I'm happy to talk about that. But what I want to do is take the great infrastructure that we have and bring it to the local level in a way that brings cybersecurity, that brings real accountability to those offices like we've never seen before. And we've seen that throughout the state. This is not reinventing the wheel. I just think that we need to do that here, and we haven't been able to do it with our Republican treasurer. And I'm very excited about the opportunities that this office provides, along with the Biden administration's opportunities and funding resources. So I look forward to talking to all of you about all of the reform opportunities that this office offers and what I plan to do on the ground outside the office as treasurer of the state of Pennsylvania. Thank you so much.
Okay, now, Yes. What's going on? Okay, Ashley Strange, did sign up a long time ago to speak tonight, and, she got pushed back a little bit, but she's gotta go soon. So she is with the Allentown City Democratic Committee, and we are planning to partner with them on a lot of petition signing events and other things. And so she just wanted to give you a quick little overview of what's going on in Allentown.
Thanks, Jackie. Thanks, everybody. Surprise, I'm also running for attorney general. No, I'm Dr. Strange, I use they them pronouns. I live in Allentown. I'm the first vice chair of the Allentown City Democratic Committee. And one of the things that I want to get out of the way is that we know that Allentown isn't going to magically jump up to like 75% voter turnout, right? That isn't something that's going to happen in a presidential year, but what we can do is we can start reaching out to people, we can start talking to people. A lot of people that we talk to when we go knocking on their doors or when we see them at events, they're very tired. They're very tired of us knocking on their doors, getting them to turn out and vote. When there hasn't, when we can't really point to something that has affected them personally. We can dig deep and we can say, well, you know, the infrastructure bill and Biden, and we can say, like, look at all the money that, you know, all of the state representatives brought into the schools. But a lot of that is really deep thinking that folks who are more transient or folks who aren't as in tune really aren't going to get. And so one of the things that I'm going to ask is, as we're talking to folks, especially in like the inner cities, we want to make sure that we're talking to them from a place of compassion, because especially in an election where we've got a bunch of people running in a primary, and we've still got a very contentious and very split general election. We want to make sure that when we're talking to them, that we are helping to inform and we're not coming at them from a place of judgment. And so, like Kathy said, like, we're working together. If I do have to go soon, but I know that all of the candidates here, I'll be able to get their information. The Allentown Dems are collecting a list of all of the candidates that are running, and that includes if you have already submitted your name to be a DNC delegate, and you know, whether it's a delegate for Biden or, you know, Marianne or Dean, whatever, if you are a Democrat and you are running for a public office, then we want to make sure that you have your petition sheet there, because that's how democracy works. So Kathy and I are working together. We're also working with Make the Road Pennsylvania. We're also working with, not in the primary, but in the general, we'll be working with the Working Families Party. We're working with Pennsylvania Stands Up. There's a lot of people that really coalesce at this time. And I'm really excited to work together with Lehigh Valley for All to get Allentown, even if it's not going to be a place of, you know, really high voter turnout, it's going to be a really informed voter turnout. And that's really our goal this year. So thanks, everybody.
Justin Morgan is here, and he is from Bethlehem City Dems, and we are also partnering with them. Yay, let's hear it for Bethlehem City Dems. Whatever, and here's Ben.
Thank you. Yeah, we have a close working cooperation with Lehigh Valley for All. I know that the announcement was late coming out, but our meetings are the second Monday of every month. So we have a meeting this Monday, which is this coming Monday, 7 o'clock at the Northampton County Community Fowler Center that's on 3rd Street on the south side. So I invite any candidates anyone in the city of Bethlehem can vote for, please come to our meeting, and there's time for the candidates to speak. We do have a guest speaker this month, someone from Lehigh Valley Stands Up actually, to talk to us about how their approach with engaging voters on the issues. So, you know, I encourage you to come. Any PCP for the city of Bethlehem, certainly, but anybody who is any voting within the city of Bethlehem, I mean, everybody's welcome, but please come to our meetings, and we're going to be working with Lehigh Valley for All, and hopefully with our Allentown friends as well, this coming primary and election cycle.
Repeat the address.
It's the North NCC Fowler Center. It's Bethlehem, it's Third Street on the south side. I don't know the exact address. Yeah, if you Google NCC Fowler. And make sure you know it's not the Northampton County Community Campus. The main campus is Bethlehem Township. It's not there. It's their Bethlehem City Campus.
Sounds
South
like
side of Bethlehem. 511 East Third Street. Thank you. Should be going on tonight.
All right, and I just wanted to say, that this whole meeting, we're gonna post it on YouTube. So people that weren't here tonight or weren't in on Zoom will have a chance to see all our speakers and get to know them to help them with their work decisions later. Okay, I guess Mark Pinsley would be next. He is running for Auditor General of, Pennsylvania. Want to say something?
Hi, I didn't expect to speak, so I'm very excited. My name is Mark Pinsley. I am currently the controller of Lehigh County. I am also running for Auditor General. Most people have no idea what controller is, or they have an idea what Auditor General is. So just to give you an idea of what controller is, at a very basic level, we check all the checks. So we make sure that we audit up the checks every 2 weeks. We make sure that we're paying the right people the right amount, not too much, not too little. Most recently, I came out with a report around child abuse that many of you may have seen. Basically, what we ended up finding was that there was a doctor in Lehigh Valley that was misdiagnosing children, and they were ripping them away from their families. So we ended up finding out about that. We put a report out about that. And the doctor was gone within 2 weeks of the report. This is the kind of thing that I want to do at the state level. These are the kinds of things people think that everything is just about money, and it is. However, it's not just about your typical audits. It's about going around and really taking a look at how you can help. One of the things that we did here was right after the Dobbs decision, I looked at the bank that we were using. We were using Wells Fargo. They donate to candidates that are against abortions. And so I called for Lehigh County to divest all 145 million out of the bank and move it to another bank. We can do this at the state level as well. These are the kinds of things that we need to do. The Auditor General has massive power. It's not just looking at the numbers, it's actually looking at what we can do, looking at what the way things they are today and the way things could be in the future, and showing the public what that means. So when we're talking about education as an example, one of the things that we can take a look at is the impact that we're having by underfunding our children by nearly $6 billion. We can write a massive report on the economic impact that that's having on our children and how we can do better. And I will go from every county and talk to people like Josh to make sure that they change the budget. Because what's happening right now, there was a court case. We know that we're down $4.2 billion. Have they done anything to increase that $4.2 billion? No. So what's going to end up happening is it's going to go to court again. And this report that I intend on writing will help the litigants win again and get the money that they need for their children. Once again, my name is Mark Pinsley. I'm running for Auditor General. I really appreciate your time. Thank you.
Now we're on the long road to state representative candidates. So we have a lot of them, and that is amazing, fantastic. We love that all you guys are running, and we're just gonna start work our way. Let me see. I think that Jay Santos from the 131st was the first one to call me up and say that he wanted to speak. So here is Jay Santos. He won in a landslide for his school board race. Yep. What's happening? Getting coached. Yeah. Oh, stretch it out, stretch it out. So, I first met Jay at, an Area 3 meeting in Northampton County. How much longer do I have to stretch this? Okay. Anyway, I think he's awesome, and so, he might be running for the 131st. We're still working that out, but maybe there'll be 2 candidates for that. But anyway, here's Jay Santos to talk to you a little bit about his run.
So as you all hear, my name is Jay Santos, and yes, we did just win in a landslide victory. So we are on the school board, the whole slate won, and it was really a blue wave. So thank you so much for your support. I know that some of you have seen me here before to speak, and I'm here again to speak to you to run for representative of the 131st and keep that victory train going so that we can make sure that we flip the house this year and we end that stalemate. A little bit about myself. I have a background in computer science. I've worked my entire life in the business field, in business data. I worked almost a decade at Dun & Bradstreet. Now I work over at a French company called Cofest, doing the same thing in business information. So I understand businesses, how they run, and what true fiscal responsibility is, so that we have the pay-fors for all those wonderful public programs that we support. Mainly, I want to make sure that those folk who have been affected by substance abuse are taken care of. That is something that has plagued my generation, the millennials, for far too long. I would have more friends here on stage if it weren't for that plague. And I want to make sure that our people are protected against the opioid epidemic. I also want to protect reproductive rights. I believe in liberty. I believe that people have the right to choose what they want to choose for themselves. I don't think that anybody here in this great state of Pennsylvania should be limiting women from taking care of themselves. This issue has been remanded to the state. Now here I am to make sure that this issue is taken care of as well. We want to make sure that any other issue remanded to the state is also properly taken care of. I don't know what the Supreme Court will do next year. Nobody does. It was unprecedented to see what they did last year. It is more important now than ever to make sure that our state representatives are accounted for. And I want to be one of those for you. So with that, my name is Jay Santos. I am here for all of you. Thank you so much for your time and vote for me this year.
We have one of our television, we have LV4ALL approved elected official hat for you. Since we helped you run for school board. So congratulations on your win. Also, I just want to let everybody know, if you have literature, please leave it in the back, because when we have our petition sheets out, we'll put the literature next to it so people can read about it if they want to, okay? All right, and then I'm just gonna go down the line here. The 133rd, Jeannie McNeil, do you want to say something? Yay!
Sorry, I was in the back of the bus. Hi, everyone. It's great to see so many new people, old faces, old friends, new friends. I'm in the 133rd district, Lehigh County, and is Fountain Hill, Copley, Catasauqua, Fountain Hill, Hanover Township, Lehigh County, and the Lehigh County part of Bethlehem. I'm just starting my 7th year. Before I did this, I was in special education, teaching students with special needs, how to get a job, keep a job, transportation, resumes, interviews. So I did that for a long time before I did this. We finally had a majority this year, and I'm sorry, but I said what a freaking gift it was. Believe me. We passed some bills. Bills to help people with breast cancer get insurance and important tests paid for. We passed some bills to help get more teachers so that people that are going through, as a student ed teacher, that are going to be able to get a stipend so that they can afford to do their student teaching for those 12 weeks. And that has deterred a lot of people from education. We have passed so many wonderful bills. The Senate sadly is not passing all the bills, but we'll keep fighting when we go back. I just respectfully ask for your vote. I know there's a lot of fabulous speakers here, a lot of new candidates, a lot of familiar faces. And I'm running again, and I thank you for any help you can give me. Thank you.
Right. Then it looks like, he's wearing that here. Steve Samuelson! Woo! Running up.
Thank you, Lehigh Valley for all, the most dynamic progressive organization. A Wednesday night in January, there's 56 people here defending democracy and making plans for how we're going to turn the whole Lehigh Valley blue. So thank you. I am honored to come here, inspired every time I come to these doors, seeing all the new people get here for the first time, seeing some folks I know for years who have new titles. We have from the Lower Stocking Council, we have Victoria. Kim leading those school board races, making sure moms delivery does not have a foothold in the Lehigh Valley. We have some exciting candidates you're going to hear from. You already heard from Jay. You're going to hear from Anna Thomas. And somebody I just met tonight, Stephanie Rafus, our candidate of 187, who was one of the volunteers who worked in those school board campaigns and is now stepping up to run for state rep in District 187. So I want to say that majority matters. As you know, we have a narrow majority, as Jeannie McNeil said, 102 to 101. We've had a couple of special elections to defend that majority. We're doing that right now in Bucks County. We need to win more seats. What difference does the majority make? Well, just think back what was happening about 18 months ago. 18 months ago, there was another party in the majority in Harrisburg. What were they doing? In the middle of the night on July 8th, about a year and a half ago, they were trying to restrict abortion. They were trying to pass voter ID to make sure it would be harder for people to vote in Pennsylvania. And they were trying to pass a short circuit to try to override environmental regulations. And in case that didn't wear them out, then 61 of them took some time to write a letter challenging the electors that Pennsylvania voters had sent to the Electoral College. 61 of our colleagues. Now we're in the majority. What are we doing? Well, we voted in the House to raise the minimum wage. First time we voted on that in 15 years. The majority matters. We voted for 2 gun safety measures in Pennsylvania. Majority matters. We voted to end discrimination in Pennsylvania. First time that bill ever came out of committee and was voted was when Democrats were in charge. And we have voted for historic education funding, $569 million new dollars this year, on top of some historic investments we made last year and the year before. And as you heard tonight, we have a long way to go. So I just want to say, we've also delivered some other things. I was the prime sponsor of a bill to expand the property tax rent rebate. 173,000 additional people will get that property tax rent rebate this year because of that bill that Governor Shapiro has signed into law. And working with my colleagues, we also expanded the child tax credit in Pennsylvania. This year, families with children in daycare will be able to get between $1,050 and $2,100. That's significant. It's going to go a long way to help our families. That happened with Democrats in charge. And we're trying a lot of other things. I was out in Harrisburg today. We're trying to work on a bill to try to give some relief to student loan borrowers. Stay tuned. We'll hope to get that one down the road. So thank you very much for all of your past support. I appreciate this outstanding organization. It really makes a difference in all of the elections in Lehigh Valley. And I'd be honored to have your support again in this year's election.
All right. From the 136, Bob Privet. Our old buddy, Bob.
Thank you, Kathy, for the great work you do. You really are the moving force in this organization, and it shows, and you've done a great job. And I do want to echo Steve Samuelson also in saying that this has to be one of the best grassroots organizations in the Lehigh Valley. You've done an outstanding job of promoting good candidates, progressive agenda, progressive politics, and it makes a difference, and we appreciate it. We really do. I am no stranger to this group or many in the Lehigh Valley. I've devoted most of my adult life to public service, to tell you the truth. I've served a long time in the House, and I want to continue to serve. So I appreciate your past support, your past endorsement, and I look forward again as I seek re-election to another term in the 136th district here in the Lehigh Valley. I do want to note too that, there are a lot of opportunities in Harrisburg for powerful money lobbies to have their way. They have the resources and the lobbyists to promote their agenda. But it has always been my thought that the job of a state representative is to represent those who don't have some powerful interest to look out for, to speak up on their behalf, to push for those issues and policies that promote a better quality of life, and ensure that we all have the opportunities we need as a society to grow, to progress, and to make sure that we lift all boats in our economic efforts. I've been that kind of representative, and I'm going to continue to be that kind of representative for you and the people of the Lehigh Valley and the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. As a state rep, I've worked for programs to create jobs and opportunities. I've worked to protect our environment, to address climate change issues, to protect healthcare and a woman's right to choose. I've worked tirelessly on behalf of revitalizing our older urban communities, to make them stable, to make them safe, to provide for housing affordability and opportunities within those communities. And I've also worked diligently to make sure that our institutions in Harrisburg are more open, more transparent, and more responsive to the people. That's the kind of state representative I've been, and the kind of state representative I wish to continue with your support. The last time I spoke here seeking your endorsement, I quoted my favorite president, Franklin Roosevelt. And I don't want to wear that out, but it really is the quote that encapsulates.
Yeah.
I don't know whether to take it as a compliment or an insult. I'll take it as a compliment. But I think this quote encapsulates, in fact, I know it encapsulates my philosophy of government and my philosophy of what our society needs to be about. Franklin Roosevelt observed during the height of the Great Depression that the test of our progress is not whether we add more to the abundance of those who have much. It is whether we provide enough for those that have too little. That's what I'm about. That's what America needs to be about. And that's what I will continue to fight for with your support. Thank you.
And I just want to let all candidates know that if you want to be endorsed by Lehigh Valley Borough, if you want to be considered to be endorsed by Lehigh Valley Borough, you've got to go on our website, LV4ALL.org, and then click the endorsement form and fill all that out. And you can you have to name somebody here in Lehigh Valley for all that would say, yeah, you were an okay person. And it could be me or whoever. First, you guys know a lot of people here, but make sure you fill that out, because the only way we're able to vote for you for an endorsement is if you submitted a request for that. Okay. All right. Let's move on to Anna.
Everyone in this room for being here and for being part of my campaign up until this point. I am a second-time candidate. Last year, oh my God, it's 2024, so 2 years ago, 2022, I ran for this seat for state representative. I came within 700 votes of being a 12-year Republican incumbent. And I ran for that seat because I was born and raised in Bethlehem Township, in the district that I ran in. Mrs. Vernon was a second grade teacher at my elementary school. And I was a K-12 public school student, and when I was a sophomore in high school, Governor Corbett cut over $1 billion from public education in Pennsylvania. And as a direct result of that, my favorite teacher, who was my 9th grade English teacher, was furloughed. As were many of folks' favorite teachers across the Commonwealth, right? And so I say that to say that when I was moving into my senior years of high school, I figured out, okay, there's a way that I started going to every single school board meeting, and I said, okay, I'm going to become, there's a position on the school board for me to serve as a student representative. I'm going to become the student rep for my school board. And I did. And the initial pull for me in the public service has always been around public education because the Bethel Area School District, which is one of the school districts that I would represent as a state representative, is in the bottom 20% of fairly funded school districts in the entire state. And so is, by the way, the Allentown Area School District, right? And something that I really like to talk about, especially now when I'm doing my fundraising calls, is that there's not a single issue in the entire state that begins and ends at the border of a state house boundary, right? Those are imaginary lines. You know what's real is our students and our quality of life that we experience, right? So when I'm running for state rep, my priorities are on how we can improve quality of life, not just in the Lehigh Valley, but across the Commonwealth. Someone once remarked to me that I was a polite populist, and I think that probably is a pretty accurate summation of who I am fundamentally and my orientation toward public policy. The reason that I am that is because I'm pragmatic and I'm a get it done kind of Democrat, right? I'm interested in how do we make the system work better so that we all have better outcomes. And I think that's the way that we need to approach government, and that's the way that we need to approach public service. So talk about systems work is when I ran for state rep last year, as I said, I almost won. I got 49% of the vote. And that was a 700 vote gap. And by the way, you guys in this room are the ones who allowed me to come as close as I did to being that 12-year incumbent, right? A guy who wants to ban abortion in Pennsylvania, a guy who supported the insurrection, right? Signed an amicus brief to overturn the results of the 2020 election, right? Like, extremists do not belong in Pennsylvania state government, let alone representing the Lehigh Valley, especially my district, a district that is 44% Democrat, 38% Republican, and 44 is a bigger number than 38. So my district is a blue district, but we are the only House district in Pennsylvania that is represented by a Republican and yet tilts blue, right? So we took it 95% of the way last year, and we're going to take it, or 2 years ago, and we're going to take it the remaining 5% this coming year, but we need your help to do it. I personally knocked, and not even counting the people in this room who knocked other doors, but I personally knocked 8,000 doors over the course of my campaign. Susan Wild only won her race by 5,800 votes. So I visited more doors than votes Susan won by, right? And there's multiple votes behind doors, right? So there's a powerful ballot impact when folks are knocking in my district, because you're getting me elected, you're getting Susan elected, you're getting Bob Casey, obviously, Biden. And my last point that I'll make, since we're on the stats roll, I try to not do this, but it's so hard not to, because there's so much great info about the district. My House district is the top predictor of statewide performance for Senate and presidential races across the state of Pennsylvania. I get to flex my chemistry degree with like running the numbers and looking at the districts and the stats, but I just want to thank all of you today for being here and for understanding the importance of down ballot races. And this is going to be the Lehigh Valley. We are the part of the state that flips Pennsylvania. So honored to be doing this work with you all, and I really appreciate it.
All right, have you guys been feeling the excitement building? Have you been tingling, waiting for this moment? Our brand new, our most new candidate for the 187th district, it's Stephanie Radnick. No, it's Stephanie Racist. Say that, racist. Again, racist. One more time. Anna, you're my inspiration.
No, it's a lot. So once I get more seasoned, I won't need this paper anymore, but for now I do. So I'm Steph Rafis. I'm running to be your representative in District 187. So that's Macungie, Lower Macungie, Alberta, the western part of Upper Macungie, Weisenberg, Washington Township, Heidelberg, and Lynn, Nutropoli area. This is a district that's been solidly red for the past, I think, 40 or so years. But this is the year that we're gonna flip it. I'm a Lehigh Valley native. I grew up in Whitehall. I live in Lower Macungie now. I started getting involved with the East Penn Democratic Club this year to help support the school board candidates and keep the extremists off our school board. Cough, cough, moms for listening. I spent my adult life in healthcare. I work as a physician assistant. I specialize in cardiology. I'm running for the state house to expand the Democrats' very narrow majority. We did elect Josh Shapiro by a large margin in my district. Judge McCaffrey also won by a smaller margin, but it was an odd year election, so the turnout wasn't, what it will be this year. So I think with hard work, we definitely have a good chance of flipping the district blue. Some of my top priorities, women's health is huge for me. So Jeannie, thank you for bringing up the breast cancer legislation, because as I'm a breast cancer survivor, so that is extremely important to us. So thank you for doing that. Protecting abortion access and removing barriers to care. The Center for Reproductive Rights still considers Pennsylvania hostile when it comes to abortion care, because there are still multiple barriers when seeking abortion. By the same token, I believe that every human being deserves the right to bodily autonomy without the government entering into confidential discussions between patients and providers. This also applies to gender affirming care. Fair and equitable funding of our public schools and strengthening public education by better supporting our teachers and staff. Ensuring students have access to diverse reading materials. The Pennsylvania Senate has already passed book banning legislation a few months ago. Luckily, it died in the House. All the more reason we need a strong Democratic coalition in the state legislature. I want to encourage more green energy projects, which will create more jobs. Support workers' rights to unionize and collectively bargain for better working conditions and higher pay. We really need to increase the minimum wage. As a healthcare provider, I also believe that healthcare is a human right, and I will fight to expand access and lower costs for healthcare. I'd like to encourage more clean options for public transportation, such as high-speed trains connecting major cities. We need to focus on smart community planning that allows for economic growth without sacrificing and disrupting our ecosystem and harming the environment. And last, supporting free and fair elections, protecting our rights to free speech, the right to assemble, and our right to be governed free from the influence of any one religion. Thank you for allowing me to introduce myself. I'm really excited. It's going to be a great year. And if you'd like to come up and introduce yourself at the end of the meeting.
Okay, one more thing I wanted to sneak in real quick. So I've been hearing on the news and everything that Joe Biden used to have 80% of the black vote, and now he's only got 60% of the black vote. And I have a guy here who is in charge of the Black Caucus for all of Pennsylvania, Mike Laws, and he's going to set the record straight on that and a couple other things real quick in 2 minutes. Okay.
Thank you. First of all, thank you guys. I want to tell you, I was here at the very beginning of Lehigh Valley for All, and you guys have grown and become the biggest power in the entire valley. So anyway, in reference to what's really taking place with the black vote, I happen to be the chair of the Democratic Black Caucus, which means we've got caucuses throughout the entire state of Pennsylvania. We have smaller caucuses. We have Baron Vanderberg, who's in charge of Northampton County Black Caucus up there. We've got a Black Caucus in Lehigh County. We have a Black Caucus in Montgomery County, quite a few different ones. And what we've done in the Black Caucus is to identify Black people based on vote builder and actually go and trying to have conversations with them, anticipating what would take place in 2024. It's called the Voter ID Project. We're rolling this out in the entire state, where we go and we identify and have conversations with Black people. But just let me tell you something. I heard Kathy tell me and ask me a question about this, and I've been talking to Black people for the past 4 years as the chair and the vice chair. And I can tell you at the rate that's going right now, 98% of Black women vote for the Democratic Party. Black. Now, 93% of Black men used to vote for the Democratic Party. It's shrunk down to 91%. But when you think about it, the 91% is still high. What the media is doing is they're playing a game. And it's all about dollars and eyeballs. They're really trying to make Trump, you know, a real contender, even though we know we're gonna kill him, right? Yeah! We know we're gonna kill him. But they're trying to make him a contender, and they're saying the Black vote is what he's losing on. But let me tell you something. We've got eyes and ears and eyeballs. We're talking to Black people in all 67 counties. We're all over the place. I have yet to meet one Black person that's going to vote for Trump. Yeah. One. And all of our people are actually out there educating and talking about the reasons why you have to do it. Now, is there some people a little concerned about what has Trump done? Well, here's something that you can tell if you run into a Black person and it says, what has Trump really done for me? Well, anybody know what an HBCU is? Yes. Historical Black College? Under Trump, he tried to get rid of the program, ended up funding it probably about $600,000. But Joe Biden basically funded it at a rate of $6.2 billion. Okay? And so when Black people have said to me, well, what has he really done for us? I just bring up the SBCUs, and they say, okay, that's good. Right? I also bring up the fact that, you know, drugs, when we think about, you know, those people that have to get, you know, insulin and the cap on insulin. And you think about people who have basically died because of insulin, not being able to afford it, especially, you know, in the different neighborhoods and people that are disadvantaged. Now they can get it for chapter $35. So all those things make sense to people. You just have to explain it. But I can tell you right now, the number that they're saying, 80% is wrong. It's going to be 91% voting for Joe Biden in terms of Black men, 98%. We're going to keep it strong. And when you run into Black people, tell them about the Black Caucus, tell them to join and participate. We're at PADallasBlackCaucus.com. Check us out. Thank you so much. And you know, I do vote for everybody, and I don't really care if you're Black or not. You know, I actually work with everybody. Right? A lot of people will go up and cheer the Black Caucus, but I work with everybody. So thank you so much, Kathy. Appreciate it. This is a great organization. Thank you so much for allowing me to speak.
All right, 2 more things. Thing number 1, raise your hand if you are going to sign a petition for every single person that you can sign a petition for before the 13th of February. Everybody, right? Raise your hand if you think you'll be able to help us get more signatures. Raise your hand if you're planning to help with that. Very good. And raise your hand if you are going to email me and say, I've got a workplace or a neighborhood or something like that, where I'm going to get some extra signatures that are not on the, you know, our agenda. Somebody raise your hand if you're going to try to get some extra signatures somewhere. Yes? Okay. Thank you, Sergio. All right. Josh Siegel feels slighted because he didn't get a chance to really say more than he was a good guy. So he gets 2 more minutes to say something about his race, which is only fair because, yeah, come on up, Josh. And then that'll be the end of the evening. So hold on for 2 more minutes.
Look, I matter too. If I leave, we have the majority. So, I know. So, my name is Josh Siegel, as many of you know, and you've all been gracious in the past in supporting me in my previous elections. Many of you know that for me, politics is deeply personal, like it is for, I think, everybody in this room. I ran for office and believe in public service because of my own personal life. My father is a gay man, my sister is a trans woman, and I distinctly remember the first time my mind was really awoken to politics, and it was when my parents got divorced. And they got divorced in 2004 in the middle of George Bush's reelection. And I remember the dichotomy of being in a loving household, being raised by same-sex partners, and watching on the news as 22 states ran amendments on constitutional amendments to ban same-sex marriage. And I remember at that point asking myself, where the hell are all the political leaders with the courage to stand up for families like mine? I scoured the news and I couldn't see anybody who seemed to think that my father was worthy of the same rights as anybody else. And I've always been a history buff, and to me, I remember the Democratic Party as the one that fought for working families, for the little guy, for the forgotten person. And I'll borrow from an attorney general, former US Attorney General, my political idol, Bobby Kennedy. And I remember that in 1962, when James Meredith, an African-American Air Force veteran, applied to go to Ole Miss and was denied entry, Bobby Kennedy sent US Marshals to escort him to Ole Miss so he could attend classes. And to me, that has always been the story of the Democratic Party, that we had the courage to fight tooth and nail to advance the cause of liberty and justice in this country. And we were willing to use every aspect of the law in our righteous crusade to make sure that every person mattered. And for me, that is what the Democratic Party epitomizes, and that is the fighting spirit that we have brought to bear in the House with our new majority, and I don't think that anybody could encapsulate it any better than Steve Samuelson did. I won't relitigate or discuss all the things we've done, but we have shown up for working people in the House. We've passed the minimum wage. We made so that striking workers could apply for unemployment. We protected abortion access through voting for a shield law. We have done everything to stand up for working families and fight for regular folks. Here in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, the Democratic majority does matter, but I want to talk a little bit about why I'm running for the House. 15 seconds. And that is that we need to continue to push for the folks that feel left behind, like I did, like my family did, who feel like in this moment, we are forgetting about the struggle of everyday people. Because Joe Biden has achieved a great deal in the White House, but the truth of the matter is that we are dealing with a crisis of affordability in this country. People are feeling the crunch of an economy that frankly doesn't work for them, and it's all across the spectrum. It's housing costs that make it nearly impossible for the young folks that we educate in our great school districts here to live in the very neighborhoods that they're educated in. And Democrats have got to deliver on that, and we are. We are the party that wants to make sure you can afford to go to school and college, afford to live in the neighborhoods you were raised in. We believe in actual freedom. We believe in making sure that you can choose what to do with your body, that you have the freedom to not be killed by an illegal gun in your neighborhood, because we believe that public safety doesn't mean penalizing and punishing working families. It means going after the real criminals, like the folks that pick workers' pockets when they steal their wages. That's real public safety. But most importantly, what Democrats understand is that when we all come together, when we unify based on our shared values and the recognition that we are all in this fight together, that we have nothing in league with corporate CEOs and big companies who could care little about us and our future, that's when we win. And that's the sort of fight I've been bringing to Harrisburg. I am championing legislation that will expand access to affordable housing by making it easier to build the homes in our communities, by pushing back on restrictive and exclusionary zoning that prevents folks from being able to build the houses that we need ourselves to live in, our children to live in. I'm a champion of the Pennsylvania Promise, which would make sure that all of our public universities were tuition free, so no child has to go into debt to get a quality education in our Commonwealth, to fully fund our public schools to address that $6.2 billion shortfall, which is a moral failing. I passed the Fairness Act so that people like my father and my sister can work and live in this Commonwealth free from fear of persecution. We are here every day fighting and delivering. We just have to get out there and articulate that message, because I think we all know that majorities are built here in the Lehigh Valley, and they're going to be expanded when we flip Anna Thomas's district, when we flip Stephanie Rachel's district, when we send Susan Wild back to the U.S. House, and we pick Ryan McKenzie as far out of Harrisburg as we ever can. And when we help make sure that we hold the Attorney General's office, we flip the Auditor General's office and the State Treasurer, because they're currently held by extreme right-wing Republicans. We in the Lehigh Valley are the swing region of the swing state. Everybody in this room knows the responsibility that lays on our shoulders, and we know we are ready to show up and do the right thing, because we're going to be the reason that Pennsylvania goes blue. Thank you.
Okay, no pressure, you guys, but it's all up to us for the whole country. I'm just saying. Okay, thank you so much for listening to all the speakers. Thank you for everybody who is on Zoom, for coming.
coming and listening to the speakers as well. As I said, we're gonna post this on, YouTube. And so you can watch it and you can fast forward through all the stuff that I said and what.
So put it on Facebook?
And we'll put it on Facebook too, that's a good idea. Yeah, okay, so everybody's gonna make sure they sign petitions, and Ginny has something else to say.
I just want to say thank you to everybody who signed up to bring food. What a great sign. It's not an empty spot on.
Hey, you guys, look how motivated they are the first of January, woo! All right, see you guys next month, and before when we're doing signatures, okay? Thank you so much for coming, we appreciate it.
Hey, Mike.
Michael Long.